Don't say that out loud. We're live.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Tuesday edition of the Attractions Podcast. We apologize for the last minute rescheduling, but you
My
can
fault.
thank the infrastructure gods for that one.
Yes.
They were not smiling on Carly.
No, it was a very Monday.
Yeah, got to pay that power bill. Got to
Yes.
remember to pay that. It's good to have you back. It's good to have
Yes.
you back in the electrical age, and it's good for me to be back. Thank you. I guess we did. Did we have a show without either of us
No,
last
so
week?
last week
Yeah.
there was a break.
Yeah.
We'll
So
talk about
thank
what
you.
we've been doing because
Thank you for getting on with your own lives without us last week.
yes.
We both needed a little time off, and we will chat
Yes.
about all that in just a second. Before we start recording, we have to say hi to our early friends in the chat. First up was Nicholas. Hi, Nicholas.
Hey.
And Michael Bingham, as always, in early. Welcome, Michael Bingham, to this cool Tuesday afternoon. And in Derek's corner, we've got Blossom and Michelangelo. Hello, folks. All right. Well, I think we've got some folks watching. We got some stories to talk about. So let us kick this show off on the count of 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and MEI-Travel. I am Seth.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's been going on in our own lives. And we both took a break last week in order to do a little bit of travel.
Mm-hmm.
Carly, how was your week?
It was wonderful. So we were celebrating, my husband and I, our 10th wedding anniversary.
Mazel tov.
So yes, thank you. So we had, kind of a blowout, like a lot of stuff. So we started
Wonderful.
on the Disney Magic. I know.
My favorite. How is it looking? How is she looking?
She's beautiful. I went on her for the first time last summer. So this is my second time sailing it. I just love her. Has that classic ocean liner feel, but obviously with a lot of Disney magic. And there's an intimacy to it, the venues, the cast members. It might be one of my favorite ships. And it was funny because it was my husband's first time sailing an original class ship. He's been on the Wish and the Treasure. And
what did he think?
Favorite.
Yep.
Yes.
It's the intimacy of it. It really feels like home. You really feel like you get to know the ship.
I agree. I know, and it's just. I mean, the cast members are always lovely on Disney Cruise Line. The service is one of the reasons why it is my favorite cruise line. But I don't know. The second time going on the Magic, these people are just so kind, and they're not in a like bless your heart way. It's like they love their job. I don't know how to make of it, but it has been definitely levels even higher than other cruise line experiences I've had. And they've always been good, but they're just so nice. I love the venues. I love Keys, the piano bar. I love the Stat Cat Soul Lounge. I mean, it is just lovely.
That sounds absolutely amazing. I'm so glad you had a great trip.
Yes. And then we ended in Disney World because we actually got married in Epcot.
Yes.
So, it's really funny. We actually had booked several other trips and kept canceling them. We booked a trip to Disneyland Paris and then canceled. Then we booked a trip to London. And the week before, we were like, you know what? We should be in the exact spot where we got married on our 10th. So we were in Epcot, and it was lovely.
I love it. Were there any attractions your husband hadn't been on that were new?
No, but you know what? He still hasn't gone on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and it's now just been kind of like an ongoing thing. Every time, I mean, we're cheap, so we don't get lightning lane multi-pass, and we're also just like, because we're there so like every few weeks, I don't usually purchase it. But one time we're just going to purchase it so he can go on it. I mean, this is the moments that I wish we just had a system like some of the international parks where I could just spend like $20 on it, like if it was a part of that, and just go on it. Because, for regular visitors, it doesn't really make sense for, you or I to get a lightning lane multi-pass because we're just there too much. So I wish we had that system in place, but we stayed at the Four Seasons, which is my favorite hotel
lovely
at Disney World. And
great pick.
Did this, they're doing a new White Lotus experience.
Oh, what was, I mean, is there murder involved?
No,
I mean,
there's no murder.
Thrown off a yacht, do you?
We did murder a few plates of food because the food is so good there.
Excellent.
But it was incredible. We ate dinner at Ravello, which is the best Italian restaurant at Disney World. It's fabulous.
That sounds amazing. My trip wasn't quite as extensive as yours, but I did murder some Italian food. I did a little 4-day cruise out of Miami with my family on MSC Divina, which I'd been on before. I've been on MSC a number of times, both as media and as a paying customer. This time was just as a regular guest, but we had a good 4 days. It was a little disappointing because we specifically booked the trip to spend 2 days on their private island, which is my favorite private island of all of them. And we never got to the island. We got near the island. We circled around the island. We tried to back in, and it's a port a couple days in a row, and never actually made it to shore. So that was a little. So it was a lot of sea days. But we were in the yacht club, and if anyone is curious about MSC, the only way to do that I recommend doing MSC is in the yacht club. A yacht club room at MSC costs about the same as a standard balcony room on Disney.
Wow.
But it includes unlimited alcohol and unlimited alcohol, private bar, private lounge, private pool, private restaurant, 24-hour butler service, access to the thermal spa. Just never, the key with MSC Yacht Club is just never leave the yacht club. They will, like the second you arrive, they will literally escort you past security and right onto the ship. And they at the end of they will do the same and escort you right to customs, and in between, just never leave the yacht club.
Wow.
That's my advice.
I have to ask you about the booze, because that is a very expensive component on many cruises.
Yes.
Is it just included in the yacht club or everywhere on the ship?
Anywhere on the ship, up to, I think it's $16 drinks, and $16 includes most of their wine by the glass, all the cocktail, mixed drinks. I drink Woodruff Reserve. That's what they make their old fashions with.
Wow.
So,
and that was included.
Oh yes. And they've got a bar that's open till 2 a.m. They give you whatever liquor you like. Like they gave me a bottle of bourbon upon checking in to keep in my room. They restock your mini bar for free. It's pretty over the top. You would have to spend a lot of money on any other cruise line to get that kind of service. So that's what's great about MSC. However, I've also done their like entry level, because they have like prices that are like, cheaper than Carnival sometimes. And I would say with those, you are getting what you pay for those. It's definitely a herd experience. It's basically, the Italian equivalent of a Carnival, cruise.
That's so funny. I definitely want to dip my toe in MSC, especially after I know you've had so many great experiences.
Yeah, I would say I would do it again. I'm looking forward to actually next month. I'm going on MSC World America for the premiere cruise of that.
I might be
Doing
going on that, so maybe we
Okay,
can hang
maybe
out.
we'll see each other there. I'm
Yes.
doing that back to back with Norwegian Aqua, and I'm really excited to see how those two brand new ships
Yes. You
compare
got to
head to
write
head.
an unofficial guides to cruise because you were really in your cruise era
I
recently.
I will I do highly recommend the unofficial guide to Disney Cruise Line, which is part of my books family. But yeah, maybe we'll start adding some of the other cruise lines in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, just with the numbers of how many more people are choosing cruises as vacations, not just
Yep.
Disney. I mean, it's just an industry as a whole. And with kind of the
Yep.
rapid expansion, I mean, Royal Caribbean, another ship is coming this year. Disney is too.
Yep.
It's wild how cruising is really turning into a really big thing besides the just cruisers. There's cruisers, like I'm not a cruiser, but
Yeah.
I love cruises, if that makes sense.
hmm
And I feel like a lot of people are now being attracted to it because it can be an affordable vacation, and it's certainly so much easier
Yeah.
than most other trips.
Oh, it's especially here in Florida
Oh yeah.
that the ability to add it on to a theme park vacation, and it's really a good value, especially when you see what the theme park vacations are costing these days. It's actually really competitive. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad you had a good time.
yeah,
Bummer
you
about the
too.
island, but I know you'll be back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll be back. Well, hopefully, I will be on that island next month alongside Drew Barrymore.
And
That is
she is
like
the godmother,
she's
right?
the godmother of the ship. So that's my that's on my bucket list to be on a private island with Drew Barrymore. We'll see if I can make that
Incredible.
happen.
I love it.
All right. Well, in the meantime, without any further ado, let us jump right on into the news in the queue. All right, we are starting out at Universal Studios Hollywood, where they have poured out their last bottle of Corona for the family. Fast and Furious Supercharged has taken its final lap at the Universal Studios Hollywood world famous studio tram tour. The finale of that tour is now closed as of today, March 11th. The final running, I think, was at 6:09 p.m. I
Our
watched
friend Eric O was on it.
He absolutely was. I got to watched a video, and it was great seeing the entire tram just Rocky Horror Picture Show the heck out of the whole thing, like reciting every line and heckling it. They even played the long lost pre-show, which they
Yes.
gave up on playing years ago.
But the crazy thing is, this attraction isn't even that old. Like when I saw
Not at all.
2015, I
Not at
was
all.
like, I felt like it was there longer. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's been a long 10 years, but
It
it hasn't actually been that
a
long.
lot happened in that tenure. We had just
Yes.
sort of a gap in the middle that we've just all had their minds erased, like the blip. But yes, I can't say that I will miss it. It still lives on here in Orlando, at least for now, in the form of the standalone attraction. But if you're on the West Coast, if you want your Fast and Furious fix, you are going to have to wait until 2026, which is the announced opening year for Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. That's that new 360-degree spinning roller coaster, which looks to be like a more extreme outdoor version of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to spin, but also go up and down the mountainside that Hollywood is built on. So
It is
that
the construction, whatever
looks
they're
pretty
doing.
wild.
I can't imagine taking on this project.
Yeah.
Because it is not normal infrastructure.
No,
You've
you
never
don't.
been to Hollywood. This is literally going around the Starway mountains. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
most theme parks basically put up their roller coaster on a parking lot, a flat surface,
Right.
and this is literally on the steepest hill you can possibly imagine. So I'm hoping they sunk those footers really, really deep.
Yes. I mean, this
There's yeah.
excellent.
So I can't really wax too nostalgic about the actual attraction, but they have promised that in addition to the new the new Fast and Furious roller coaster opening in 2026, there will be another attraction coming to the studio tram tour at some undisclosed point. There's been a lot of speculation whether it will just be a new video put in that same tunnel, or if it will be a whole new attraction. So I don't know. What would you like to see go in that space?
I don't really have any firm opinions or guesses, but everyone online was hoping for Wicked, which
Mm.
would be, obviously a good tie-in. My God, it would bring us back to like great movie ride of going through the Wizard
Right.
of Oz scene.
Oh, okay. So your tram rides into the tunnel and gets picked up by a tornado and
Yeah, I mean that
flies
could be
over Oz.
really. I'm
Okay.
whatever about Wicked. I'm not, in that super fandom, but I think it would be a wonderful addition and certainly make it well-rounded.
My only caveat to that is that Universal Hollywood used to call itself the entertainment capital, and they have no live entertainment right now. I guess other than Waterworld, if they're gonna do Wicked, there needs to be a live show with live singing. Not
That would be
not just a
incredible.
simulator. If I was gonna recycle that tunnel for a finale, it would have to be Back to the Future theme.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that would be.
I want to see Doc Brown on those Musins. He can be partying with all the ladies, like in the after party, but I want Christopher Lloyd
Imagine they
inserted
just
in there.
keep the dance scene and they just
Yes,
throw him in there.
yes, and then I want him to slap a flux capacitor on the back of the tram and let you fly through Back to the Future.
Well, I mean,
Um,
it's certainly possible. They have been dabbling in a lot of
yeah.
Back to the Future stuff recently between the merch, between the 60th, the upcoming Fan Fest nights.
Yep.
I mean, it would definitely, make sense. Maybe they're testing the water with all
Yep.
these activations.
That would be my vote if they're going to recycle that. Honestly, I'd rather them if they were. There's been a lot of talk over the years about relocating the entrance of the tram tour instead of having it where it currently is, moving it down on the lower level by the Mummy ride. And
Yep.
if they were able to do that, that could conceivably free up space for a whole new land, like a diagon alley sized land,
Yeah.
connecting the old tram loading area to where that finale is, to the Falls Lake, which is kind of abandoned, which was
Right.
near the end of the tour. So that would be a lot more exciting for me than throwing a new film into the finale. I
Same.
do.
Yeah. I mean, they've certainly been inventive with use of space. Case in point,
Mhm.
the coaster. So.
I will say that the only advantage this version of Supercharged had over the Florida version was that it was still using 3D. Now that this is gone, I've heard whispers they want to get rid of the 3D in Hollywood's Kong, just like they got rid of it in Florida. So if you still like the 3D on Kong 3D out in California, ride the studio tour while you still can. That's my
Yes.
advice. Yep. All right. Moving on, Universal news on the opposite coast. As we mentioned, team member previews are underway right now at Epic Universe. I have heard people basically have experienced all the rides, attractions, shows, with the exception of Battle of the Ministry.
Mhm.
Don't know any. Well, I know of one person, but they're not talking.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I mean, it's the most ambitious
I don't know any
and
average people who have been on Battle of
yes,
Ministry yet.
it's
But
incredible.
we see people on all the roller coasters. We've got great photos from our friend, as always, Bio Reconstruct. of people throughout the lands. Those team member previews are going on. Just saw that another round were released. Team members, I think, can get up to 4 tickets for themselves and 3 family members. They're not even friends yet. It's like close family members, and they're under tight restrictions.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to pull out their phones, take pictures, which is actually a really cool way to experience the park.
Just
Because I
enjoy
know
it. Yeah.
because I know when the
Fine.
2 of us are there, we're going to be getting a media preview at the end of this month. You know, everything willing, and we're going to be glued to our phones because we're going to have to be capturing as much content as quickly as we
Yeah.
possibly can. And the idea of having your first experience in that park being back like it was before we all had phones
Oh,
and cameras in our pockets, and
I
just
wish.
being able to enjoy it without that obligation, I'm so jealous.
I know, I
Um,
know. I also have heard that the merchandise
yeah,
is so good. So I hope when we get to go, we can purchase stuff because I want it all, especially the Dark Universe stuff I heard is incredible. You know,
yeah.
not just t-shirts and stuff, smaller goods. I literally can't wait. But what I think I've been most excited of seeing is this lighting package that they've been testing on the Chronos. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've seen videos when
Wow.
everything is moving and the lights are going. It really is like a work of art.
Yeah.
And I think that competes with some of the icons on the Vegas Strip. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing I can't think of anything other than I don't know Spaceship Earth with the beacons of light, but
Mhm.
even that is not as kinetic. I can't think of anything as like kinetic and eye-catching um, in a theme park here in town.
Yes, it looks incredible.
Yeah,
I am so excited. I just cannot wait. I'm excited for everything.
yeah.
But I just can't wait to be in Dark Universe.
Dark Universe, I'm excited about. I'm also I'm hoping that we at least get to walk around the new Harry Potter area
Mhm.
and get to play with some of the spells. I purchased my own second generation magic wand when they were
Nice.
released this week.
Yep.
They became available on March 1st in Universal Orlando, and you can use them throughout the existing Wizarding World, and it will be ready to go when Ministry of Magic opens on May 22nd. And I got to tell you, the too long didn't read is that these are way better than the first generation of wands. They're way better than any of the games with Disney's Magic Band Plus. Um, Not quite up to the level of the power up bands with the Bowser Jr. finale challenge. That's still the high watermark for these kind of
Mhm.
things, but it's a big step up over the first generation wand. My first generation wands were the kind of things where I did each spell once to see what it did
Yep.
and never took the
Mhm.
wands to the parks again. I am actively looking for a holster or some kind of like crossbody wand holder
So
so
you're
that I
saying
can.
it has rewandability.
It has total rewandability. Okay, so here's the deal. There are 4 new wands available. They are not being used in the Ollivander wand ceremony. So one of these is not going to choose you. They cost $20 more than the normal ones, and I can't imagine unless you're doing the wand ceremony and that's emotionally important to you. I can't imagine buying one of the old ones instead of
No.
these new ones now. Because what it does is it allows you to sync up with your phone. There's a whole new play section within the app for the Wizarding Worlds, and it tracks your progress. It knows every spell you've cast, and it has a whole series of journeys and adventures. Step by step, you go through. And the cool thing is, all of the old wands still work at all of the old locations, and people with the old wands can still cast one simple spell at each of them. And all the windows have been upgraded, so they have more lights, they have more sounds. The effects are all a little more elaborate. But if you've got one of these new wands, you can cast a second spell after you cast the first spell, and these have way more impressive effects. So you kind of like if you've got just the simple wand and you see someone who's casting these level 2 spells, you're definitely going to be a little FOMO for
FOMO.
sure.
You know what? If I had a kid, I would say that was your wand that was doing
Right.
like, oh, that
Your
was you
fault,
that
kid.
said it.
Your fault, kid. Yeah, so the other cool thing is that there's these adventures where uh you do, first spell, and then it tells you go to a second location and then a third location, and then it unlocks more adventures, and eventually in each land there's like a top level adventure you can unlock that culminates in a special new location that can only be used with people with these new wands. And these are like a whole different level of elaborate. There's one in Nocturne Alley in the staircase, and there's
Ooh.
another right outside of Hogwarts Castle near the Forbidden Journey lockers. In the staircase, a Dementor appears using this multi-layered Pepper's ghost effect, where
Wow.
like the Dementor can looks like he's getting closer and closer to you, and you cast your Patronus, and during the setup for the wand, you get to pick what Patronus you have. I obviously have a cat,
Yes.
um, but you can there's a bunch of different animals to pick from. So you cast a Patronus, and then you have to do multiple motions. It's almost like motion controlled video game. To have your Patronus combat the Dementor, and you have to hit it a certain number of times to make it retreat. And it's really like a cool little moment. It's not quite up to the level of playing the whole Bowser Jr. finale, but way, way more than any of the other wand effects we've ever
Absolutely.
seen.
I mean, we have to give some golf claps for
Oh,
Universal Orlando because their technology was like nothing for so long.
yeah.
And it's like, boom, mobile ordering, boom, all of
Yes.
this. And so
They
it's
have
kind of really advancing very fast.
they really have played catch up and surpass, all the
Gotcha.
stuff that
Yeah.
Disney promised that Magic Band would be enabling, in interactivity and replayability and things like that never really happened. All the data pad games for
Right.
Star Wars, that it's like, Universal's finally doing it with the power ups and with these new wands. I also really liked the one in Hogsmeade is the Dueling Club. There's an animatronic dummy of a
Ooh.
Death Eater, and you cast combat spells at it with light effects and blasts of air. Really, really well done. The downside is that the effects take a lot longer now, and they're way more attractive. So the lines, which for a long time were fairly short for all the
Yeah.
windows, the lines have gotten way long. There's a few windows. There's the spider windows in Nocturne Alley and the Owl Post right where the Howler is. Those now like can take 30 seconds or a minute per person, just at a minimum, and yeah, 20 to 30 minutes to wait for some of them.
Yeah.
And
I was there the first day and I was like, there's no way I'm waiting. Also, there's been a little kinks, which is totally normal
uh-huh.
in the early days. So I'm gonna wait to definitely do it, but it sounds fun and very advanced. How
Yeah.
long did it take you to get to that battle scene in Nocturne Alley?
Okay, so the battle scene in Nocturne Alley, I including having to wait multiple times for the spiders, because I was having trouble with the spiders, and when I lost, I got out of line and went back to the end. But other people just kept doing it over and over and over and over again.
Oh,
So
wow.
I guess I just should have learned that I just should have, when I got my turn, to just camp out and not to let anyone else have a turn.
Yeah.
So it probably took me a little longer, but I would say it took almost 2 hours, I'd
Oh,
say, of uh to get me to the Nocturne Alley one, and to finish all of the available quests in Hogsmeade took maybe a little over 3 hours. And
wow.
that's just the adventures, but there's still once you you finish the
Unlocked.
adventures, there's
Yeah.
still spells that I haven't done, and then you get unlock higher levels for doing a spell multiple times, or doing sometimes you can get achievements for failing a spell. So
Ooh.
there's lots of layers to it. I feel like there's still stuff. I'm looking at my app, and there's still a ton of stuff that I haven't filled in, and I've probably spent 3 hours in one park and almost 3 hours in the other park, and
That's amazing.
I
Yeah.
still got plenty of stuff to do.
So
So
rewindability, 10
I
out of 10.
I really feel like it has extended the time I want to spend in the Wizarding World, which is exactly what it's intended for.
Yeah.
And they're talking about even more elaborate things in the Ministry of Magic, where you'll be able to cooperatively work with multiple people to trigger spells in some
That's
of the
really
wands.
cool.
There's also a a daily house cup. You pick your house, and the points you earn contribute. Not sure exactly what you earn. I'm a Ravenclaw, and no one seems to want to be a Ravenclaw.
You earn pride, okay? The satisfaction of
Yes.
knowing that your house won that.
I have intellectual satisfaction out of it.
They need to have a
But
leaderboard like at Super Nintendo
and
World.
there is
Hollywood.
yes, there's also an individual leaderboard. I was briefly in the top 50. Now I'm like in the top, I don't know, 150 or so. I need to put in more hours. But
Quit your job, go every day.
there are people who are clearly taking this extremely seriously,
Oh,
just like they
shocker.
do the leaderboard outside. My one tip is the good news is you don't have to recharge these wands. They've got a quadruple A battery. I've never heard of a quadruple A battery, but it's super light. I feel like it's even lighter than my old wand. And if the battery ever runs out, you just take it to any location, and they will repair it for you for free.
Wow. I wonder why they go this route and not just have it be a lightweight USB, because there's so many little small like travel stuff that I use that's just a tiny little USB to recharge. So I wonder why they don't do it that way.
Well, the charging port on a USB is always the weak point, whether it's moisture or physically breaking off in there. And I think they probably figured over the long run, it's supposed to last for about 2,000 spells. And
Wow.
that is including the haptic vibration, and the tip also lights up in different colors depending, if it's a lumino solemn, it's white light, but if it's an incendio, it'll be red and orange blinking. It can do all that 2,000 times before the battery runs dead. And I guess they figure rather than having to replace the whole wand because someone's USB charger has broken, they can just pop in a new battery for a few pennies.
That's amazing. So I guess people have to start getting batteries next month, because we know these Harry
Some
Potter
people
fans
have probably already cast
yeah.
2,000 spells for sure. My other tip is if you are having any trouble casting some of these spells, and to be honest, I sometimes have some trouble, go into the settings of the game, and there are wand options. You can turn on an easy mode, and it becomes much more forgiving about the shapes you have to draw to activate it.
That's the mode that I'm gonna do.
Yes, and it doesn't seem to be any like asterisk on your leaderboard or deduction of points or anything.
Because you're still doing it,
Yeah.
it's not like the adventure itself is easier.
Yeah. So if you are interested in heading over and trying this out for yourself, our friends at Universal Fan Travel can get you over to Universal Orlando.
Fun. I can't wait to do spells at Epic Universe.
All right. And something else that I can't wait to do at Epic Universe is a little bit of shopping. And we have a tiny tidbit about a character that they have come up with as part of Celestial Park's shopping options. And his name is Vincent Various.
And he's about to take a lot of money from all of us.
Yeah.
Not in a mischievous way.
Right. So this is found by digging into the app, Universal's official app, which recently added map and has been adding details on all of not just the rides and shows, but also the food and merchandise venues. And there's going to be a shop near the front of the park called Sensorium Emporium. And according to the details, it is owned by an explorer named Vincent Various, who has converted his workshop into a variety of stores with an endless variety of merchandise.
Take my money, Vincent.
So the interesting thing is, this is I have a book which is out now of the Universal Orlando 2025 unofficial guide, but it was written almost a year ago, and at that time, according to the trademarks, we thought this was going to be called Various Emporia. And at some point, they changed the name around to Sensorium Emporium,
I love it.
but the various part stuck around as the last name of the founder. From the trademark filing, I thought this was going to be mostly apparel, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit of everything. I think it's going to be very much like how in Islands of Adventure, you've got one row of shops on one
Yes.
side and another row of shops on the other side.
Yes.
I think this is going to kind of be the complement to Other Worlds Mercantile. That's on the left side of the entrance, and I think that's going to be the other main gift shop that kind of balances this out.
Yeah, I'm excited for the branded merchandise to different attractions and restaurants, like Pizza Moon, like that logo is just so iconic with that woman on there. There has to be stuff for that. I heard there's Burning Blade, like merch branded to that. So I'm nervous for that. Just nervous because I'm going to want it all.
You're going to spend a lot of money. But this article also speculates about Vincent Various possibly being a walk-around character, similar to at Toothsome. They have Dr. Penelope and her robot Jacques. I haven't heard anything about anyone being cast as Vincent. I can't confirm or deny that.
Maybe we won't see him.
But I will say that I had seen plans for characters from the Moonship Chocolates and Celestial Sweet Shop, which is the candy store that's there. There were plans to have Maya, who is a world traveler, and her Captain Cacao, who is a teddy bear. Duffy. Duffy. So I haven't seen any photos or of those two yet. So we'll have to see if they actually make it out into the park. Hopefully they will, because I talk about them in my book.
Well, I feel like with Epic, the things that I'm excited for aren't even necessarily the attractions, but all these little things, these little details, these spaces. There's just so much. And I feel like there's also so much that we don't even know yet. And we're not going to find out until we go. And that heavily into the walk around characters or whatever. I'm personally really excited for that.
We've seen so much detail being going into the Celestial Parks mythology. It's original IP for Universal. It's kind of based on Greek astrology, but it's got lots of its own elements to it. And I'm wondering if there is going to be, if not a magic wand, at least something in the app or something to code. One of my favorite things is in the fortress area of Tokyo Disney Seas, how there's that game you can play to explore. And I feel like Celestial Park has so much space
and potential,
and only two rides. I mean, the carousel and the roller coaster are going to be great, but for so much room, I feel like there's potential to like have interactive things woven all through it, even if it's only through an app, to learn more about these characters and these stories.
Yes. Well, I will just be at the Atlantic restaurant
right there at the bar. Yes, that'll be me. All right. Finally, while we were on the subject of Epic, there's some land still to be developed at Epic. And apparently, Universal Orlando already has plans for some of it, as well as plans in all of their parks. That is according to a new video posted on Universal's YouTube channel featuring Karen Irwin, who is the president and chief operating officer of Universal Orlando Resort. They're promising that there are a lot of things coming in the future beyond what we already know about. And I gotta say, they've kind of been killing it with their video campaigns,
Yeah.
their social media lately, with teases of the new parks and beyond. Definitely getting the hype train rolling for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, they've definitely been pulling out all the stops. Again, it's like same with the technology. It's like they went from like 0 to overdrive, and it's
Mhm.
really incredible to see. And it's exactly what they should be doing
Yeah.
before opening this park.
I think the thing that everyone has been talking about is Wicked. Mark
Yeah.
Woodbury, who's the chairman and CEO of Universal Destinations and Experiences, he dropped to New York Times that the Wicked theme park plans were somewhere in development, without saying anything specific. And I know there are a lot of fans who would love to see Wicked. Personally, I think that Wicked would be best put in an Islands of Adventure, if only because it would restore Islands of Adventure being about things based on books. That
Yes.
was, books and literature was kind of like the original idea, I guess, of IOA.
Hmm.
Once it stopped being just Cartoon World, and so I think that would be a great place to put it. But for expanding Epic, what do you think? What would you like to see come to Epic?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like regardless of what I want it to be, I feel like it will be Wicked, just because it's such a cultural phenomenon, and it has been for 20 years, and I don't see that going away. It's so many kids' introduction to musical theater, for
Mhm.
better or for worse. It's not my personal favorite. I think realistically, it makes the most sense. They could sell a ton of merch. The
Yeah,
food could be exciting. I feel like there's a lot to do there. And, I love like anything sort of based off of the Wizard of Oz. So I wouldn't be
yeah.
upset.
I would not be upset. I think at Epic, though, I think adding capacity to their existing lands, rather than adding a whole nother IP
Yeah.
that's gonna draw a completely different audience might be wiser. Like, I think Nintendo is gonna get totally slammed, and they are gonna need more Nintendo in that park.
Well, look at
And
Hollywood. It hasn't
yeah,
been the same
yeah,
since,
yeah, and
opening.
the
And it's really hard to really
yeah.
understand the nuances of the land because it's just too busy.
Yeah. And I want to see more monsters. I know that there were
Yes.
plans for a boat ride, maybe with the creature of the Black Lagoon, and I would be all for that.
Oh my God, that would be
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. I think I think Epic is going to need some more family friendly, the Haunted Mansion type uh, Omni Mover, or even like Pirates style boat ride, in order to round out.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd like to see. We will see, though. We've still got to get through the grand opening on May 22nd first. And honestly, I think Epic will probably be okay without opening anything new for a few years. But the studios and IOA need some help, especially studios. It's got, I think Simpsons was probably be next on the chopping block. That's my
I'm fine
guess.
with that. I
That's
just don't,
a that's a
don't take away the
conversation.
charm. I love the 90s
Yeah,
charm of the studios.
that's a conversation for another
Yes.
day. But first, it is time for us to hear a brief word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction.
Okay, for this week's main attraction, we are heading to the South by Southwest
Woo!
2025 event where Disney has unveiled some geeky technical information about upcoming theme park attractions by about Monsters Inc. ride, and new themes from The Mandalorian and Avengers, including an appearance by Robert Downey Jr.
Yes. They pulled out all the stops for these sort of announcements.
Yeah. If you haven't heard of it before, this is the South by Southwest SXSW. Happened on March 8th in Austin, Texas. And there was a presentation hosted by Josh D'Amaro, who's the chairperson of Disney Experiences, and Alan Bergman, who's co-chairperson of Disney Entertainment. And a lot of this was kind of showing off research done by Imagineering and other folks who create new technologies for the Disney theme parks. And it gave us some of our best detailed glimpses yet of things coming to the parks in the next few years. So let's go through them real quick. The first one is we saw the loading station for the new Monsters Incorporated roller coaster that is very sadly replacing Muppet Vision 3D. But the neat thing about this is it is a hanging coaster, a suspended coaster where your feet are dangling, but you will kind of sit down into the seats, and then the entire coaster train and the track it's on will be lifted up into the ceiling, and then your seats will swivel forward, and you will be launched forward on the track, just like in the movie. Which is, I don't think, something I've ever experienced on a roller coaster before. Have you?
No, I'm like thinking about roller coasters where obviously the track does that, not at the loading station though. But I saw someone post online, and I can't unsee it now, comparing it to when you drop off clothes at the dry cleaner, and you know how it goes on that thing.
Yes,
and I
yes.
have been laughing since that because it really does look like
That's
that.
exactly what it looks like. Yeah, this is something that pretty much all roller coasters do, but never with guests in them. All roller coasters have to have a transfer track so they can move a train on and off from the track to a maintenance area. This is using that same sort of technology, except usually it will slide horizontally. In this case, it's sliding up vertically, but not impossible. But the trick is having guests strapped to it while it does that. That's usually only for when it's in maintenance mode and no one's riding. So that will be a pretty cool experience and a great way to kick off that. And they also revealed that as you're on the ride, you will be seeing other people on the ride inside the show building. So you'll be kind of zooming past each other, recreating that scene from the movie with the doors flying past each other.
Yes,
So
I'm very excited for this. I think it's a great addition to Hollywood Studios, and I love this detail.
Yeah,
I was very happy about this.
And my only concern about it is if you watch the loading animation, if you count the number of seats and the time on that animation between dispatches, that's not a great capacity for something that's going to be as popular as this is. It does have double-sided loading, so it can be launching one as it. But even then, these are only 2x2 seats, so not a lot of people on each train. You think of Hagrid's. I think this is going to be the same or a lower theoretical capacity as Hagrid's. That's my guess. So
right, it's such a bummer that it's going to be at Studios too, because that park I rarely go on anything because again we don't purchase Lightning Lane. the wait times. I mean, every attraction there's essentially, an e-ticket attraction.
Yeah.
So the wait times for everything there, from Rock and Roller Coaster, Twilight Zone, I mean, everything is usually like pretty rough. So this is just another one, and it's not going to be a people feeder, like you said,
Yeah.
because the capacity will be lower.
Yeah, absolutely. The one advantage, it will take the pressure off of Slinky Dog. Everyone will run to this
Yes.
instead of Slinky Dog.
I love
The
Slinky Dog.
next new attraction that they showed off is the Cars attraction, which will not be Radiator Springs Racers, but will be a new off-road rally adventure through a rugged wilderness. This is what is replacing the Rivers of America in the middle of the Magic Kingdom, Frontierland. And they'd previously shown folks, Imagineers, testing ATVs, just driving around on a track. Some people thought that meant it was going to be this trackless system. No, they were just doing that to get the feel of what they were going for. The actual ride system is going to be a much more traditional car ride vehicle that looks just like the Radiator Springs body, two
Right.
rows of 3 people across, just like Test Track. But instead of a slot underground, with a arm sticking up, it looks a little bit more of a visible, almost like a dark ride track that it can pinch onto, with the big innovation being that it can go over bumps, kind of like a 4-wheel drive, I guess.
Yes. What it kind of
So
reminded me of is, those like antique cars at like regional theme parks?
yeah,
The
it
little, like Hershey Park, like it's like that, but like an off-roading version.
it reminds me of at the Autopia in Disneyland, where there's this brief section where you go off road,
Yeah.
and it goes from being like smooth paved to like bumpy.
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing, except faster and a little bigger. Yeah, that's totally what it looks like. Exactly that. So that's what we're losing Tom Sawyer Island and the Riverboat for, right there. Get your last trips to those in this year. And then heading out to Disneyland, we've got some updates on the expansion of Avengers Campus. Stark Flight Lab is basically some of all thrills meets the old Kuka Robo arm ride that they had at Legoland back in the
Yes.
day.
Mhm.
And the big difference, the innovation to this, is that you're going to be sitting in a seat that's going to slide along a rail and then get picked up by a Kuka arm, and a whole bunch of arms are going to do choreography. They're doing choreography
Okay.
all together, and they literally had dancers. I love this video of all the dancers. Like,
Yeah.
they're not motion capturing that. They're not. I mean, they're basically doing that so they can have B-roll of choreographers doing that, and then the actual programmers are like, yeah, whatever. I'm just using splines.
Right, exactly.
I'm just using math. I'm not looking at that. So yeah. So that is the one. That's the C ticket. I mean, it's a next generation flat ride, I guess, but I don't see it doing anything that we didn't previously experience in Some of All Thrills, except that at least had video to look at. So
Right. It's essentially another screen ride.
yeah,
I'm whatever about it. I
yeah,
mean, I think expansion is good at DCA,
yeah.
but it is another screen ride there.
Well, the second ride is definitely a screen ride. That's the new King Thanos Avengers ride that will feature lots of Avengers, and they show clips of this. And in a new video, and it's basically Spider-Man or Transformers or the new Peter Pan ride in Tokyo. It's got some big sets and 3D glasses. So if you stopped going to Universal because it was nothing but 3D screens, then you're not going to be able to go to Avengers Campus, I guess.
Yes, that is true. I mean, definitely not Spider-Man.
Yeah, but you will get some more Robert Downey Jr. We know that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not as Iron Man, but as Doctor Doom. However, in the Marvel theme park universe, Iron Man and Tony Stark never died. They're still around, and apparently, I don't know if Robert Downey Jr. just thinks he's Tony Stark, but he apparently thinks he's actually a consultant to Imagineering and wants to stick around for many years to come.
Hey, you know
So,
what? Well, Disney can mutually benefit from this because when they
amen.
don't have a lot of news, like sort of this, you got to
Right.
dazzle with someone, and this is a dazzle.
For those of us who are old enough to remember when Robert Downey Jr. was the last person that you could ever imagine wholesome Disney wanting a long-term association with, it is sad and frightening to live this long, to see
Yeah.
the entire world turn upside down. Black is white, dogs and
Up is
cats living
down.
together. Yes, we are all the upside down. We are also living in the world of the Fantastic Four, who are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in theaters this July. They will appear as live characters in Disneyland. And it sounds like they are also working on an animatronic version of Herbie, who is the robot buddy in the new film, to appear in the parks as well.
Very cool.
I would rather them work on an animatronic thing suit.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Finally, let's talk Star Wars. They have confirmed the opening date for the new mission featuring the Mandalorian and Grogu. That is going to be coming to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run on both coasts on May 22nd. That's the same day that the new film debuts. And we are going to be visiting at least four destinations, I guess, on that one.
Yes.
Tatooine.
Yep.
I'm sorry, three destinations. I apologize. Tatooine, Cloud City, and the wreckage of the second Death Star. I guess because this is taking place just about 5 years after Return of the Jedi, it's still in low orbit, and by the time of Rise of Skywalker, it's crashed into Kif Bir so that Rey and Kylo Ren can have a fight on top of it. I don't quite get the chronology there, but okay, good enough.
It's artistic liberties.
Artistic liberty. I mean, I'm excited for an update to the Millennium Falcon attraction, but I'm more excited to hopefully see these BDX droids.
Yes.
They previously popped up at Disneyland, but I guess they're going to go on a world tour, and they are also going to appear in that new Mandalorian film. They are so freaking cute. There's a great video about how they designed and trained them on YouTube, but they are making them even cuter by having one of them being now ridden by an Anzalian, which is a tiny creature that species that Babu Frick came from in Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, he looks almost like a little capuchin monkey, but like an old man.
Yes,
it's so cute.
And the expressiveness, I guess this is similar to technology to when they had a baby Groot in the parks years ago.
Yes.
But that baby Groot was on a table that didn't go anywhere. This thing is on top of a free roaming robot. So their ability to miniaturize these animatronics and make them move so lifelike is just stunning. I want to see one of these guys in person.
Yeah,
so
it's adorable. Yeah, it's so hard because you've likely seen the videos of when they did appear in Disneyland, and it's just like a million people around with their.
Oh, you're going to be absolutely mobbed. I just recently was in Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios and saw the Mandalorian and Grogu in the wild for my first time, and you just couldn't get near them because they were just. Even though the keeper is like, he's got to move along, or whatever, it was just like a mob of people.
It's pandemonium. It's like Beatlemania.
Yeah. So these guys, but they're so adorable.
They are very cute.
So keep an eye out on BDX droids, and they'll be on that big screen on May 22nd of 2026.
Yes.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of yet another episode. Before we go, let's take a look and see if we have any comments that we can that we can share. We have Michael Bingham. Apparently, his friend also went on the very last Supercharged. Yeah, we've got a bunch of people were on that, and go and on YouTube check those out. It looks like we have one vote from Iris says no Wicked and yes
I'm
to
okay
Back
with
to the
that.
Future.
Yes.
Michael Bingham also seems excited about the idea of Back to the Future. I think there are a lot of Back to the Future fans still out there. Derek, in Derek's corner, they're rooting for Wicked and Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Ooh.
I do not know of a Sonic theme park. I doubt that Universal would get in a partnership with Sega, though, since they are in with Nintendo. And you know
Yes.
that Sega does what Nintendo don't. If you're old enough to remember that commercial, you are really old,
Yes.
like me. Ray Stanley also rooting for a Back to the
I
Future
love it.
land.
Yes.
And Sonia just chiming in to say hi.
Hi.
Hello. And finally, Carmine C. Dinosaur, I have excellent news for you. Fast and the Furious is going to be a roller coaster.
Woo.
Check out our previous stories about the new Hollywood Drift spinning roller coaster coming to Hollywood in 2026. And there have been rumors about a similar roller coaster replacing Rip Ride Rocket at Universal. So who knows? Supercharged on both coasts could
I'm still
be
holding out for
going away.
Ghostbusters, but
Uh,
yes.
oh my God. Can you imagine a Ghostbusters
I
roller
can.
coaster?
Yes. Oh,
Okay. Well, before we go, we want to give one last thank you to our sponsors, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. A reminder to everyone to please give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to this podcast, and a like and subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching this live video. And be sure to follow us at attractionsmagazine.com. Search for Attractions Magazine on all your favorite social media platforms. Carly, where can folks find you on socials?
yes. I am on Instagram at Adventures by Carly.
And you can find me at S. Kuberski or at The Unofficial Guides, and find copies of my books at theunofficialguides.com. And until next time, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.